Anyone care to, please stand. We have a moment of silent prayer before our pledge. Mayor?
I'd like to pray out loud, please.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Heavenly Father, we thank you this evening for letting us come together to conduct the citizens of Bryant's business, Lord. We pray for those that have trouble believing in you, Lord, and pray that someday they'll find salvation and trust your Son, Jesus Christ, to be their Lord and Savior like each of us have done. Be with us tonight. Help us find wisdom, discernment as we make decisions for the city of Bryant. Help us to always be mindful of the needs of others and compassionate towards each other as Jesus taught us to be. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Rob. All right, now join me with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Be seated.
Do look at my hand.
All right.
No hair here.
Call this October 29th, 2024 meeting to order. First thing on our agenda is approval of minutes. You have a comment about the...
No, I thought we had a problem today, but the dates are correct.
Dates are correct. Okay. So we're starting with September 17th, 2024.
You need a pen.
Make a motion to approve this.
Second.
Motion to approve in a second. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion passes. I failed to do the roll
I was
call.
going to get that out of you after the next one.
Okay.
Do it now.
Let's do that now. My apologies.
Brown. Henson.
Here.
Martin. Here. Meyer.
Here.
Mosley.
Here.
Fuller.
Here.
Permiter.
Here.
Cordell.
Here. We have a quorum. Number 2, approval of minutes of September 24th, 2024.
Motion to approve. Second.
Motion second, all in favor? Any opposed? Motion passes. Okay, so what we've done here, we've got public comments. If you're not here about the Midland annexation, we wanted you to have a chance to make some public comments. If you're here for something besides the Midland annexation, we want to give you a chance to make a comment or ask questions. Okay, seeing none, we will move to old business and open this for public comments about the Midland annexation of Midland Estates. Just a reminder, this is concerning whether or not to annex this development into the city. So if you can argue for or against that, if you have questions or recommendations to the council as far as the decisions they have to make, we'd appreciate that. You have 3 minutes, and please state your name and write it down there at the podium. Come on up.
Good evening, Mayor, council members, city clerk. Here to speak on behalf of Wildwood Terrace, Midland Manor. I have
name, sir?
Justin Root, 711 Sedgefield Drive, Bryan, Arkansas.
Thank you.
Mr. Mosley. I've had a bunch of constituents. I'm elected representative for Justice of the Peace for District 5, which encompasses that part. I've had quite a few constituents just call about it. A lot of, I think the big thing is what we're missing here is misinformation. Really not able to get, every time I talk to someone, get a different answer about where the streets are going, how it's going through, the safety, the traffic volume. And I think a lot of it is just not knowing what is exactly happening. What I'd like to propose to you guys is that we suspend and table the motion to annex it till next month so we can do a better education forum to the residents of that area that is going to impact greatly. Myself, I'm just getting educated over the last 48 hours of it. I see some concerning things from you too. So that is my proposal to you, and hopefully you will support it. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you, Justin.
I've got a few things that I'll mention that I was going to give you guys. Thank you.
Thanks, Rick.
Thank you.
So I will echo that sentiment on requesting you guys to either table this if you're so inclined to vote for it tonight, to give a little more time, but and I can give you a couple of reasons of kind of why. I still, as I've told some of you in the past, I feel that this vote for annexation is premature. You're voting to annex in a development that, you know, is still very much in dispute and question on whether it's going to ultimately be in the form that it's in right now. It's been requested and preliminarily approved for. There's ongoing litigation that some of the others in the audience can speak to tonight about it on some issues, and some probably potential other litigation that will take place on it. Our attorney unfortunately was out of town tonight, so asked me to bring up a couple of issues with you guys just on the actual wording itself of the ordinance. And there's copies of this in there, and the areas of concern we have are highlighted in those. This proposal is calling for, the way it's worded right now, to annex a portion of Midland in front of the property of Trish and Richard Wood, who you guys have heard speak here in the past. And the annexation, as it's written and drafted right now, it's calling to annex in a section of Midland Road that's in front of their property, in front of another county piece of property in front. So it's calling to annex roads that are not surrounded or faced by city property on either side. So I don't know if that's an oversight or an error, but either way, that's not the way I'm assuming that this should be voted on. Similarly, on the backside on Wildwood, the ordinance itself calls for, quote, all of Willow Road to be annexed. And I think there are probably some people here tonight that live on Willow that can speak to this too, but, you know, at a minimum, I would think that the wording on that, as it's going to be voted on by you guys, should be just the properties that are actually part of this proposed subdivision. And we still would object to those as well, just because we feel that, and you know, like I said, this is all part of current litigation, but we feel that you don't have the right to go in and annex part of a road as part of an existing subdivision that's in the county. So if, you know, those two things were taken out of that, and this wasn't tied to a subdivision, we might not have any objections, you know, to the actual annexation itself. And as I said before, you know, this is not just about Roush Coleman. We can, you know, good people can have different opinions on whether or not Roush Coleman is good for a neighborhood. Mayor and I have had this debate. Let me see if I can skip to something more important. Let me just go to this. Last month, Mr. Hope made a statement that it's just simply not true. He stated that, as a matter of fact, this development is going to be built regardless of your vote. Now, the arrogance of that statement is another example of the bullying, honestly, that we've seen from the participants on that side to a lot of the surrounding residents around in the area.
Mr. Kuzi, I appreciate it. Your time's up, sir. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Dorothy Wilson. I have property that's right next to the development that's going in, 5 acres. And my biggest concern on this is the fact that flooding. I mean, they built spillway directly into my property, destroying the value of my property, which I'm sure they're doing the same thing to other people's property. And I've been kept in the dark about most of this. I didn't know about this meeting, didn't know about the annexation, no one's notified me of anything. And I'd just like to voice my concerns here, especially about the flooding.
I'm Daniel Halpern. I live in Stonehill Estates and drive up and down Midland every day, and we also own 40 acres on Midland Road. Have a lot of concerns about the adding this subdivision to the area, and forgive my ignorance, just found out about this meeting just a couple hours ago, and just wanted to voice my concerns. I've not heard the arguments for or against this subdivision, but obviously have some concerns about it, and I would like some time to address those concerns and hear the arguments for and against before it's decided whether or not this is something that moves forward. So, just like to echo the concerns of everyone else in the area. That's about it.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Ashley Halpern. I'm Daniel's wife, and like he said, we own 40 acres on Midland, and we live in Stonehill. I hope to build a house on Midland one day. And we have 2 little boys, and one of my biggest concerns has been the traffic. People fly down that road, and we live, our property is right at the corner, and I know that's a big area for accidents anyway, and so having so many more houses on that road, I have a lot of concerns about eventually having my house there with my 2 little boys, riding their bicycles and things like that. Flooding, I know, could be an issue as well. We already have some problems with water flooding from some of the surrounding areas on our property, so I don't know if that would affect our property or not, but I do worry about that, of course. But mostly the traffic and the number of houses that's going to be going into such a small area. So I wouldn't even be opposed to there being a neighborhood there if maybe there were less houses in it, so we didn't have to worry so much about the traffic. So, thank y'all.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Perry Young, I'm an attorney, and I've been working with Todd Havens and his engineer now for getting on 6 months on this project. The petition was filed in the clerk of the Saline County County Clerk in May 13th of 2024. We have gone through all of the steps, both at the county level and now at the city level. I've heard a couple of valid concerns concerning flooding. The city and the state through AEQ, and frankly, if it's in the right flood or the right waterway, the Corps of Engineers has jurisdiction over that. And as somebody that represents developers and develops property myself, somebody developing property is or should be keenly aware of the potential for flooding. And that's something that absolutely can be taken care of if it becomes a problem in the development stage. Obviously, the city still has the right to deny the acceptance of maintenance of the infrastructure improvements. It has continuing supervisory capability. I was unaware, if this is true, that all of Willow Road is described in the proposed ordinance. That was not something that Havens Development was seeking. That is in fact part of the neighboring subdivision. It's not something we had hoped to bring into the city. And I don't believe it's described as such either. I believe that to be an error, but I haven't had a chance to study the ordinance that's being prepared. With that said, the last concern that I understand is apart from lack of information, which again, these have been public documents now for 5.5 months. Everything has been permitted, everything has been gone through the right channels, and for every day that this delays, the costs to our client are rather steep. And I believe at least one of the speakers that had appeared in the last 20 minutes before you is aware of that. The last problem that was raised is the litigation. Well, they brought the litigation, so if there was a way to have the circuit court stop what's going on here, I'm sure they would have already. It's a totally independent process, two different issues at stake, and frankly, talking with opposing counsel today, in principle, we have that resolved, and that hopefully will end up being resolved before we come back for any other further use of your time and your kindnesses. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Good evening. My name is Rob Theme, and I have 17 acres on the end of Willow Road, and like others, are very concerned about traffic in the area. Right now, many roads in our subdivision, there's only room for one car to pass in many places, and I can't imagine that many more vehicles coming in and out of our area. We have kids running around too that be concerned about, like others, and I just wanted to voice my concern on that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Chloe Middleton, and my problem with y'all putting that on Willow Road is I like to ride my bike, my brother likes to ride my bike, our cousins and all of our family, and we have friends in the neighborhood we like to ride bikes with. And when there's a car coming by, they barely have room to pass. Little enough, when we're on the road, they don't have room to get over for us. Another thing is that when we have so many kids out there, we like to go ride together. And I was wondering if y'all could just not put it on our roads so we don't have to deal with all that.
Thank you, Carl.
My name is Tiffany Philpott, and I live on Centaur Circle, which is right next to where the subdivision is going. I've lived there for 22 years now. Have an acre. All the water already, before they started building on this subdivision, came through there anyway. Now it's worse. Much worse. And on pretty much all of Centaur. The traffic is awful. There's a bus stop right there at the corner of Centaur Circle and Midland, where 2 buses come through there. Traffic's already bad. It's going to be much, much worse, especially with that many houses. So, I mean, from the get-go, this has been a nightmare. For one, the city sewer that they put in. They put that city sewer on my property, in the easements. I've got 2 manholes on 2 areas of my property that I didn't want. In the beginning, they came out asking if we wanted, they never said it was Bryant City. They never told me it was Bryant City. I was all for it at first, until I found out it was Bryant City. If it was Salem Water, which is the company that we have in that area, it probably wouldn't have been a problem. But that's too many utilities in that area, for one. And 2, 16 years ago, they wanted to annex that area into Bright anyway. Well, we voted it down as voters. But now I feel like we're going to be pushed into that. Because that subdivision, if it gets annexed, what do you think is going to happen? Like what's happened down Spring Hill. All that's Bryant City. And we all live in a country setting. And we'd like to keep it that way. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Randy Hester, and I am pastor of Olive Hill Mission Baptist Church in the county. And I say that for a reason, not for anything else, but I just want you to know that I brought a lawsuit, a legitimate lawsuit, against them because, well, we were scared. I'll just put it like that. No one had ever said anything until they started clearing. And they cleared. When they cleared, then we wondered what was going on. Well, we found out what was going on. They were going to put an entrance into that area. And if we hadn't have known it, they would have done it. Okay? Now, y'all know the situations in the road. You know it's not feasible. They would have done it anyway. So, the lawsuit, there was some negotiation, and we were thinking about it. But then, we find out that y'all want to annex it, which threw a complication in it because we weren't sure exactly if an agreement with them would be binding with y'all. We didn't know. And plus, some of the wording didn't seem quite right, so we were inclined to say no. And so, when council decided, he told you that there's an agreement or the hope for one, I know nothing about it, okay? That's just simply the fact. I read the text between the two councils that were forwarded to me, and I can assure you that as of this afternoon, the opposing council did not think there was an agreement either. So I don't know what's going on with that, but I can tell you that I don't trust the idea of the locked gate. Because an agreement with them does, y'all could turn around and undo the agreement. I don't know. So I'm asking you, because are you annexing the two lots on Wildwood? I mean, that's the two lots that we're concerned with. Does that no longer fall under your annexing our agreements? Those are questions we don't know, and I think needs to be addressed and taken care of. And I would hate to think that y'all would vote on annexation tonight and not have the answer to those questions. Because the majority person who is doing the litigation, let me tell you, he's not going to stop if you vote to annex the property. And it'll be your headaches, not theirs. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Lisa Watley. I am a property owner on Wildwood Road. We have just over 5 acres on that road. That is the road that connects Willow Street to Hilldale, which is our main arterial road. I do believe I spoke to the board back in the spring when we first started talking about this subdivision about the infrastructure surrounding serving that community. I'm not against growth, development. It's all great. Love to see our community thriving, but we need to think forward in how we're developing these things and make sure that we have the structure in place to accommodate those things. When we're looking at, as I understand, 192 houses, about 2 cars per house, making a trip in and out every day, that's just under 800 streams of traffic coming through, whether that be on Midland or whether it comes through that back gate onto Willow Street, which, as my neighbors have already described, cannot accommodate that type of volume. And with Parkway Elementary being their school that would serve them, it's inevitable that gate will be opened somehow or another. I'm not sure how that would be enforced to keep that locked. And so we don't necessarily trust that that would be a binding type thing that would keep our neighborhood safe, keep Chloe safe from riding through the neighborhood and all of her friends. I do have the property there on Wildwood. Wildwood at one time was proposed to go straight through to Midland. I'm not sure if anyone's aware of those old plans, but to have that straight shot would keep that traffic from flowing through Willow Street and through any of those other streets within our neighborhood like Forest, Sherwood, or Ivy to get over to Park Street to then get over to Wildwood. I mean, we're going to have a ton of backup trying to get out of our neighborhood. That's going to cause an emergency concern for me and my neighbors getting in and out of our own neighborhood. And not to mention it comes out on that very sharp curve on Hilldale Road. So I would implore you to look at maybe some restructuring of those roads soon to give us shoulders, adequate lanes to be able to accommodate that traffic if this is what you decide to do. Thank you.
Thank you. seeing
Hi, I'm Terry Hester. I've spoke to y'all before. Tonight's going to be a little different. All of this, I feel like, all of us are neighbors in here with the exception of a few who don't have a stake in any of this. I think the big word here is mistrust. Not from y'all, but from the process going back and forth, because some people have exaggerated agreements and things going on. So all this could have been avoided, I think, if we would have just respected each other and the lives that this process is going to affect. And they could have came to the community, had a meeting, said, what can we do to make this happen? I think some people want a fence around the whole subdivision so that our subdivision on Wildwood Terrace will not be a part of this, because houses are going to back up right to our houses. That's something else. If it's annexed, I'd like that to be something that's done for sure. We would like a promise of that gate being closed to construction traffic, to regular traffic, everything. The people on Midland Road, it's going to be a nightmare for them either way, because there's already a lot of traffic there. And I know I've heard people say from this council that this is going through no matter what. It might. But I just want you to understand that us as a community don't want it. We've been disrespected. I'm sure if it was put in their neighborhood next to their house, they didn't like it either. We've been threatened with lawsuits. We don't fall in line. These are good people in this community. It's a very diverse neighborhood. We have different races, different religions, different political beliefs, different incomes, and it's safe right now, and we all live along with having problems, and we just want to keep it that way. So if you're going to annex or do anything else, I'd like the community to have a voice in what would be acceptable to us, instead of us just feeling like we're being railroaded over without any consideration to our life. Thank you.
Okay, I'll go ahead and, I've got another. Good evening, Jonathan Hope with Hope Consulting. How are you all tonight?
You guys have heard a lot from me over the last few months, so I know you guys understand the situation. You know where we are. We've kind of gone over some of these concerns in previous months, but to go over these specific comments again, we heard flooding, right? So this subdivision is designed from boundary to boundary. So the back of these lots that are at Centaur Circle, for example, the backs of them are kicked up. So the houses, everything, all of the yards slope to the streets, and all of the lots go through the detention pond. So Ms. Wilson spoke about 5 acres that she has adjacent to the property. So there's actually a detention pond west of her and north of her, just off of her property. All of the water that flows from up north where Jacuzzi lives through Centaur flows through our subdivision and pretty much crisscrosses her 5 acres. There's always been kind of a creek that goes through it. But we've got a detention pond built to the north and west of her now, which all of the water that's coming through the subdivision will have to go through that. Traffic. That was a huge one, right? Everybody talked about the traffic. So Midland's a minor arterial. That is the biggest classification of road in the city. So if you're going to have a subdivision with a lot of houses on it, that's where you would want it. Long term, I'm sure Midland will be improved. Your street cross section shows for, I think, a 90-foot wide road that's going to be expanded. We'll do half-street improvements on our part as well. So minor arterial, that's as big as it gets. As far as on Willow, we didn't want to go on Willow. That was not the plan. We actually, your master street plan connects over to Wildwood. I think one of the last people that spoke, Lisa, mentioned, wouldn't it be great if we could just do a straight shot down Wildwood, hit the parkway, just like your master street plan? We agree, 100%. We went and knocked on those doors. Mr. Havens offered to pay those at a very high price, but there was already a first right of refusal on them from Mr. Jacuzzi. So, you know, that was not for the betterment of the community. Mr. Havens would have paid to buy that property for the connection, so the master street plan would have been just as it was designed to be. But that was not an option. There was a talk about the gate onto Willow. We're completely fine with the gate. The gate is fine, so that is not uncommon. So Knox box approved by the city for the fire department, police department, emergency access only could be controlled. So we're in complete agreement with that.
Thank you, John.
Hi there. My name is Alicia Jacuzzi. And first I want to say I live on Midland Road and have been on Midland for 20 years. And what Mr. Hope just said is absurd. Everything he said wasn't true. We have a serious traffic problem right now on Midland. He doesn't live on Midland, none of them do, and they don't see the med flight that is landed on Midland. I mean, which has happened numerous times over the years that I have been there because the traffic is so terrible. It's a very narrow, curvy road, and there's serious, safety problems there. And last month, Mr. Hope tried to minimize this traffic development, and he said that and what he said absolutely made no sense. We've given you all a breakdown of how the math is accurate and reasonable. 192 homes at 2.5 cars per home is 480 vehicles. If they take, on average, 1.5 trips per day, that equals 1,440 cars passing in and out of just that subdivision. That's not even addressing the problems we already have. That's on top of the 2,200 cars that pass daily already with backed up traffic every single day. I think last month, Mr. Leonard, I think it was him, mentioned that Midland is scheduled to be a 5-lane road. A 5-lane road? You guys, the Burnett Parkway is not even a 5-lane road. So I don't understand where all of that came about. And we all know that will not happen, probably within 2 generations at best. We're just now making Highway 5 into a 5-lane road, and he, said that Midland was going to be a 5-lane road, and that just could not be further from the truth. So we really appreciate your consideration in all of this. And it's just the safety of our community and our homes and our children that we're concerned about. Anyway, thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Asha Miller, and I'm here to speak on behalf of some of the residents, all of the residents of the Wildwood Terrace subdivision. One thing I want to speak about right now, what Jonathan Hope just said about that they went knocking on all the homes' doors on Wildwood Road is totally not true. I'm sitting with two of them right now that I personally know that never happened, and I know of two more that they never knocked on a door. That would have been something that would have been clearly spoke about. The traffic, there's no way that that neighborhood can handle that amount of traffic. Have you ever been there? Has anybody ever drove around this subdivision?
Many times.
And you know, it's not big enough. I've seen construction trucks going back there to work on people's homes, getting stuck in the ditches, getting high-centered. You know, tractors being rolled over into the ditches because they can't make the turns. You know, anybody that's driving some type of big rig that goes down that road is going to have an issue. And so, you know, the kids run around, they walk to and from the bus. You know, I have a son, a 3-year-old, that I feel safe that can be walked up and down the road from his babysitters down to my office. Okay? I don't have any issues with that right now, but the fact that if you open that road up for another subdivision of that quantity of homes, there's no way. Nobody on that road would be safe. This is a quiet, close-knit subdivision that needs to stay that way. There's no way that a road should go through Wildwood, let alone on Willow. I mean, that one, there's absolutely no room. So, that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. All right, we'll go ahead and close our public comments. Again, this is our third reading of ordinance 2024-10, Midland Estates subdivision. Ordinance to annex certain territory in the municipal boundaries.
Mayor, before you read that, do you mind if I ask a couple questions?
Yes, sir. I was just reading, make sure we're all.
That was an official reading that you were doing, so I was wanting to get clarification before you do so.
Yes, sir.
So is a flood study required for this?
They have to perform a
Who's
design.
they, Ted?
Pardon?
Who's they?
The engineer of record of Holt Consulting has to perform these stormwater calculations and decides it for the entire drainage basin.
Has that been done?
Yes, sir.
The gate, the knock lock gate, has that been approved?
Yes, sir.
The street master plan, is it for a minor arterial to be expanded?
The ultimate build out for Midland would be a minor arterial at its completed state. Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Which is minor arterial is 2 lanes?
No, it is a 4-lane with a back and forth turning lane. It can be like a 90-foot right of way, or it can be a little bit longer if there's a wider, if there's a trail.
Jack's got some questions.
No, I'm good. I'm studying right now.
How are we going to be assured that that back gate stays locked?
Well, that's the enforcement of the police department as well as the fire department to maintain the knock slots on it.
When would that gate be installed?
It would be installed with the completion of the road into Willow.
If you were to guesstimate, and I know engineers don't like to guesstimate, but just play with me here. How many knock lock gates do we have in the city of Bryant?
Chief, I'm going to defer that to you.
Sorry, Chief. Welcome to being chief.
Less than 10.
Less than 10. Have we ever had an issue with those gates not being locked, Chief?
No. I can only think of one issue, and that's been years ago.
Did we quickly resolve that issue?
Yes.
Did we make sure the person knew that they weren't supposed to do that?
Yes.
Have they done it since?
No.
Thank you.
We would like to add one other thing, as far as the traffic relation, we would like to point out widening Highway 5 calls for a signal light at Midland and Highway 5, because they're conforming with also with our master transportation plan of being a minor arterial in the future.
And the traffic light at Bryant Parkway and Highway 5 that currently exists, who put that in?
We put it in as a...
Who's we?
City of Bryant,
Okay, why do we do that?
because we knew we needed a light.
Right.
And we couldn't wait on the highway department.
So if in fact we had an issue with Midland and Highway 5, do you think we could do something similar there?
Yes, sir, although the current schedule has that construction being completed sometime between 2026 and 2027, in which case the highway department, RDOT, will install the light at their expense, not ours.
But if some reason the wonderful Highway Department couldn't get that done in time, we could certainly accommodate that.
We have the capability, yes, sir.
Thank you.
So would that gate be open during construction onto Willow? I mean, construction vehicles wouldn't have access to
I
Willow.
defer to but basically, there's probably little to no value in bringing construction vehicles through that
I
area.
wouldn't think so.
Sorry for the deposition.
That's good questions, good questions.
Because
There were concerns on speeding, especially with bikers with, let's see, sorry, I wrote all their names down.
I believe
Miss Chloe,
I
that said
believe that
biking.
would be
Is there a way to get a, I guess this is a Chief Minden question, the radar, the standing radar out there, like occasionally to like help alleviate some of that?
It's inside the city limits. Put it out in the county,
But if it's annexed, it's inside the city limits there, we can,
put it all over the city.
okay.
But Wildwood wouldn't be in the city.
The only thing that's being annexed is that
Is that
subdivision.
section? So it'd be a no.
Terry, since it's,
Okay.
being talked about it for annexation, does that give us more control to watch over how things are being built and
Yes, before,
then if it were
if
county?
it's within the city, code enforcement does the inspection on the building.
And if it's county, what happens?
Well, that's for something the county to answer. That's their requirement, not ours.
Do you think it was less or more as strenuous as the cities?
Don't do that.
I can't speak.
Don't know, okay.
That's a forward-looking statement.
There was some questions as to the legality of the ordinance itself. Ashley, do you mind to comment on any of that stuff?
Yes, the ordinance comes almost directly from an order from Judge Matt Brumley from June 3rd, 2024. Judge Brumley ordered that the city take control of the full length of Willow Street. So I understand that what Mr. Perry said, they're not requesting that, but it has been ordered by Judge Brumley for the city to take control of that. That is authorized under Arkansas Code for him to do that.
Any other questions? If not, I'd need a motion to suspend the rules and read third reading by title only.
I think I'd like to make a motion to table this until next month's meeting.
Second.
A motion and a second to table.
I have a question before we vote. So if we table it for another 30 days, Justin made a comment about, because I think there's a lot of misinformation about this circling around based on the emails that I've gotten. I mean, what are we going to do in 30 days to satisfy that?
Sure. So a couple of things that I would like some clarification on. I know that there's some discussion as to council as to whether they've already come to some agreements on some of the debates that they were having internally. One council spoke that they have reached an agreement, others saying that they haven't. I'd love to get an update on that, make sure that all of that stuff's been addressed and they've kind of come to some resolution with that before kind of make some of those decisions.
I just want it to be, the delay to be productive, that's all.
Sure, and that's looking for just some clarification on that. It seems like maybe they're still talking through some of those things, and if they can provide us with an update by next month, that
Well, didn't we have two people come up and say they didn't even know where the annexation line was? Like, they didn't even know for sure what was being annexed in?
The portion of is originally the county, that public notification goes through them, not us.
So it's not anything that we did on our level of notification, or required to do.
Was there an adjoining search done to notify all the people adjacent to that land?
That is a question for the county.
Perry, do you know?
That is not a requirement.
Okay, I was just curious. Thanks, Perry.
All right, I got a motion and a second to table. All in favor?
I call for a roll call vote.
Roll call vote. All in favor of tabling this motion until next month?
Henson?
Am I voting yes to table it?
Yes.
Yes.
Meyer?
Yes.
Perimeter?
Yes.
Rodell?
No.
Mosley?
Yes.
Martin?
Yes.
Brown?
No.
O'Rourke?
Yes.
Page 2.
Motion passes to table this to next. Thank you, everybody, for being here, being engaged. We appreciate your time and effort to be part of the conversation. All right, new business. We've got a public hearing. Ryan, Joy, you want?
Good evening. Notice of the public hearing was given as required by Arkansas law. This is a public hearing in connection with the issuance of a water and sewer revenue bond in the maximum principal amount of $1,500,000 to finance sewer improvements here in the city. So, Mayor, now's the appropriate time to open that public
Yeah, I'd
hearing.
like to open that hearing now, 7:22. Any public comments? Okay. Seeing none?
I'm disappointed. This is not as
Close.
exciting as annexation.
You're welcome to move down here. I keep telling you that. I've been telling you that for 20 years almost.
It'll make your commute quicker.
Now it's closed.
That's so good parliamentary procedure, sir.
Thank you. All right, so this is an ordinance 2024-23, an ordinance authorizing the construction of betterments and improvements to sewer facilities of the city of Bryant, Arkansas, authorizing the issuance of a water and sewer revenue bond for the purpose of financing all or a portion of the cost of construction, providing for the payment of the principal of and interest on the bond, and prescribing other matters relating thereto.
Mayor, you might recall that I was before you back in August. You authorized the issuance of a water and sewer revenue bond to finance water improvements here in the city. This ordinance is very similar to the ordinance that you adopted back in August. This is a bond issue in a principal amount of $1,500,000. The interest rate on the bond is 0.75% with a 1% servicing fee. So the overall lending rate to the city is 1.75%. This is a drawdown bond, just like the bond that you approved at your August city council meeting, which means that the city will advance funds as needed to finance the sewer improvements. You will only pay interest to the extent that you're advancing the funds, so similar to what you would do for a construction loan, maybe for building a house. You pay interest only on the bond issue through November 1 of 2027, so there's roughly a 3-year period of time by which you can finish the project and advance funds under this bond issue, and then beginning on December 1 of 2027 through November 1 of 2047, you would pay principal and interest on the bond. So a roughly 20-year amortization schedule from the time that you start paying principal and interest on the bond. So again, very similar from what you approved back in August. The only difference is
the interest rate, principal amount, you're financing sewer here instead of water. Be happy to answer any questions tonight.
Got water, you gotta have sewer.
I thought this was, are we doing another Amendment 78 before the end of the year?
This isn't Amendment 78, the next one is.
Okay.
If it's appropriate, Mayor, I'd make a motion, we suspend the rules, put on first, second, third reading by title only.
Yes, sir, very appropriate.
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
And can I also call for a roll call vote, Mayor, please?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Roll call vote.
We're voting to suspend the rules.
And read by title only.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Rodell,
Yes.
Mosley,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Henson,
Yes.
Meyer,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
O'Rourke,
Yes.
Permenter.
Yes.
Motion passes, so now I'll read the ordinance. 2024-23, an ordinance authorizing the construction of betterments and improvements to the sewer facilities of the city of Bryant, Arkansas, authorizing the issuance of a water and sewer revenue bond for the purpose of financing all or a portion of the cost of construction, providing for the payment of the principal of and interest on the bond, and prescribing other matters related thereto. Roll call vote. Or I need a motion to adopt first, sorry.
So moved.
Second.
All right, in a second. Now I get a roll call, please.
O'Rourke,
Yes.
Mosley,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Meyer,
Yes.
Rodell,
Yes.
Permenter,
Yes.
Henson.
Yes.
And there's no emergency clause on that.
No mercy clause. Thank you, Ryan.
The next ordinance is, as was mentioned, authorizing an Amendment 78 financing in the principal amount of $2,225,000. And from what you received in your agenda packet, there was one change. There was a blank in section 3 on page 2, and I completed that blank, so I'll hand it.
Thank you.
That's just to complete that blank in section 3, the interest rate being 4.79%. That rate was not locked in until this morning. So again, authorizing $2.225 million for the purpose of financing various improvements that are mentioned there in the second whereas clause of this ordinance. 4.79% is the interest rate. The note is being purchased by Regions Equipment Finance Corporation. You might recall that Amendment 78 financings are no more than 5 years, so this is a 5-year financing. This will be repaid from the general revenues of the city. So the prior ordinance was water and sewer revenues. This is repaid from general revenues of the city with a 5-year repayment structure. Be glad to answer any questions that you might have on that. And this does have an emergency clause to lock in that rate of 4.79%, which is good for tonight.
I make a motion to suspend the rules and read first, second, and third reading by title only.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Okay, we got a roll call vote on that as well. Thank you.
Roll call vote.
Sorry.
Rules. Thanks, Ryan.
Martin,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Permenter,
Yes.
Rodell,
Yes.
O'Rourke,
Yes.
Meyer,
Yes.
Henson,
Yes.
Mosley.
Yes.
Passes. This is ordinance 2024-24. An ordinance authorizing the issuance of a promissory note to provide short-term financing under amendment number 78 to the Arkansas Constitution, describing other opportunities pertaining thereto and declaring an emergency. Do I have a motion to adopt?
Make the motion to adopt.
Second.
Motion is second. Roll call vote, please.
Mosley,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Henson,
Yes.
O'Rourke,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Meyer,
Yes.
Rodell,
Yes.
Permenter.
Yes.
Motion passes. The motion to adopt a mercy clause. A motion,
Second.
second, Jordan. Roll call vote, please.
Mosley,
Yes.
Henston,
Yes.
Meyer,
Yes.
Armenter,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Rodell,
Yes.
O'Rourke,
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
And we are scheduled to close on both of these financings on December the 4th, so the city would have access to the funds for the various projects in this Amendment 78 financing, as well as the sewer project here in the city. So, as always, thank you for the opportunity to work with the city of Bryant.
Thank you.
All right. Monthly financial report.
I did have two changes that I did want to make note of that went out in the mayor's memorandum. The $3.5 million is not going to hit the bank in October like we hoped, but it is scheduled to be received November 8th. And I had put on here that there was going to be an 007 fund investment report in this meeting, but it's actually, the agenda was so long and there was no rush on that I bumped it to the next meeting. So those were the only two changes. Sales tax was up mid-year, 309K over last year, but that's only 52K over the budgeted forecast, but still good. We're continuing to work on the 911 consolidation. We have received estimated numbers on the 2025 bill. Streets went up to 69 days in cash, and hopefully, we're hoping this will be a trend through the end of the year. I did want to make an announcement to ask everybody to please, if you receive a utility refund check, no matter how small it is, to cash it, because the process there, if you don't cash it, is that we then send that money to the state, no matter how small the amount is, even if it's 73 cents. And so then it goes into that treasury hunt thing that the state does, and that's just a lot of, bureaucracy. If you would just cash your checks, that would save everybody a lot of time. The Parkway, we're still waiting to close out certain invoices from United Pacific, Garber, and then one last change order from McGeorge. And we did get permission from bond counsel Ryan that just left to they use the remainder of the money for a match for the Parkway trail along the Parkway. I think that was basically it. Did anybody have any questions on the September 30th ending report?
I have a general question. When you did the budget for 2024, what percentage did you use for sales tax, for projection on your growth? Was it 2%, 2.5%?
No, I think it was actually 3%.
3. Yeah, 24 was 3%.
24 was 3%, and that, I wouldn't say it's been a stressor this year, but it's been kind of close. We watch it pretty closely.
And projections, next year's budget's 2.5.
It's 2.5.
Okay.
We started at 2, but we bumped it up to 2.5 after we got a couple of more months in, so.
Sitting over 3 right now, correct, Joe?
Yes. So, good questions. Anything else?
All right, are no other questions? I will entertain a motion to approve this report.
Motion.
Motion?
Second.
Second. All in favor? Any opposed?
Thank you. All right, lots on the budget adjustments, but the two biggies are the one that I spoke with you guys about last month on the paying off one of our old Amendment 78s early. It wouldn't save us that much in interest, but I just think that since I feel like it wouldn't be a big hit to our savings. We haven't done a tremendous amount of capital this year out of the general fund savings, and it would keep our amount of open Amendment 78s consistent and the same. And then the $25,000 for the emergency replacing the heater at Bishop Park Lap Pool. Those are the two biggies for general fund, and then obviously the big one for West Point. I did want to note on the West Point items that we know of at least $22,000-ish that probably wouldn't be covered by this budget adjustment. So if you would choose to table this to next month, that's fine by me, and I could bring back the other amount. But we did want to go ahead and bring it to you guys.
We'll make a motion to table.
Yeah, I second that. I think
Table just that one
I'd like to
line?
see it all at one,
Okay.
in one thing done and finished.
I think we're looking for transparency.
So table that one line for sure. What about the rest of it? Anything else? I just want to make sure. So we would adopt with an amendment to table that one line. Okay. Can I get a motion for that?
Jason, question's got a motion to just table that one line, the West Point line, and the budget adjustments.
Adopt with the.
Adopt everything else.
I'm okay with that, yeah, I'm okay with that.
Motion to table the West Point line, adopt everything else.
Yep.
Second. Sean, second.
I have a question. On the West Point, do we have a breakdown of what all those costs are?
Yes, did that get put into the mayor's memo or spreadsheet?
I didn't see it, that's why I was asking.
We do
Yeah, we
have,
have that, and then we've still got a few outstanding invoices as we wrap it up.
Will those be paid by the next month, by next month's meeting?
Will they be paid by next month's meeting? There's one.
At least be on the, where we can do the
Yeah,
budget
you can
adjustment
get
for
pretty
it.
close. There's one issue that was brought to me today of, one neighbor's lost a little bit of property in the rebuilding of a wall, and she would like to get an assessment of that, what she lost. It's not a lot, but she paid for a survey. She'd like to be made whole, and so I told her to, or I asked her if she wanted us to do an assessment of the property, or she would like to. She said she would like to. So she's bringing all that back to me. You know, that I'm not sure how long it's going to take, but she's got the survey. I'm sorry, I don't have a better answer, but I met with her this morning. Now, the fencing, the landscaping, all of that is getting wrapped up. And so we're pretty close on those things.
I think Joy and I had a conversation earlier. One of my concerns is, how do we keep this from happening? How do we better, because nobody seemed to know that we were over budget. We were way over budget. And it's alarming. From council, from my perspective, I'll speak for me only, not the whole.
It's very alarming.
I've got all kinds of issues with it. The original motion was not to exceed 250,000.
Without coming back to council.
Right. That was, the issue is, that's not going over. The issue to me is, we didn't come back. Right. And it's not just a couple $1,000s. I think it was $430,000, number that you guys threw out there today. That's not a real number.
That's why I'd like to see the breakdown.
Do you guys happen to know when the 250, what day?
It was February of 23. And that's the issue I have. And so, who is responsible for overseeing projects and making sure that we're not overspending? Who is it?
I can speak to this project. There were 3 different mayors overseeing this, and the pool replacement was approved by one mayor. Fencing, all new fencing was approved by another mayor. Those agreements were made that I met with property owners who hadn't had a backyard in a year and a half, and were very frustrated.
That doesn't change the
But there still should be some
That doesn't change the fact.
spreadsheet of some kind putting all these West Point
We have it all, we
expenses.
have it all there.
Then when it hit 250, there should have been something coming back to us for approval.
It hit that number before I was mayor. The promises made to take care of these things, these agreements were made by other mayors. If you want to ask them about that and why they didn't bring it back, you're welcome to.
We've had other things that came in over budget and we didn't find out about it until late. I mean,
Yep.
so it's not just this one thing, it's happened several times.
Tennis courts, for example.
What was it? Oh, back to the tennis court. I think we're proud, we're still real.
Good. I took care of residents that were in a tough spot, that weren't getting any result.
No one's,
I took care of it.
I don't disagree with that.
I don't think they're upset with you doing that, I think they're upset with the process more than anything.
I mean, the last contract was for $95,000. We were well over budget by the time we got to that.
Oh, I agree. That was, again, that was before me.
No, you signed it.
I know, because there were people that needed to get this, until that pool was fixed and that wall was built,
Oh, I agree.
nobody was gonna get anywhere.
I agree.
And I don't think that anyone on council is saying that we would say that we wouldn't have approved the money to make those residents whole. I think that we're all saying we just would have liked to have known going into it that we were
It was
already
gonna
calling
cost
for a
this
budget.
much more.
There's a process and we don't seem to follow it.
Well, other mayors had agreed to take care of it. So the city was, in my opinion, under obligation to take care of this.
Mayor, I don't think anybody's.
Okay.
I think it's the fact that it was done without coming back to council. Like when this was discovered, it probably should have came back to council in some way, just say, hey, just want to let you know what I've inherited here. And nothing to get, I mean, you know, everybody's trying to do their best in this life, and I know that, right?
Yeah.
At least they're supposed to.
Of course, yeah.
But I think it's just, and I'll mark some of this up to the 3 mayor thing and the public works director switch around and all this stuff, but I think just coming back when something like that comes up, instead of everybody being surprised. And I'm not saying you made the bad decision, a wrong decision. I'm just simply saying the process probably needs to be where if a red flag comes up, and that's a learning experience, right? So you just come back and say, hey, I just want to let you know, I just pulled over this man cover and there's something in it I don't want to look at.
Yeah, I had to deal with it. Did I deal with it?
Nobody's doubting that.
Yeah, could I have dealt with it better?
I know.
Maybe, you may be right.
I'm just saying,
Yeah.
well, I've said
That-
it 3 times.
Well, just a minute ago you said it was happening before you. That's the point I'm trying to make. Is that
But it was already.
it was already done before you. That's what we're trying to say here. No one's blaming any. What we're trying to say is if we say if it's $250,000 and that's it, and if we gotta ask for more money, that's fine, but we gotta know
Before it comes to.
before it comes to it. The other day, Joe, I'm not trying to say anything, but Joy Lee sat there and said, I have no way of keeping up with it. That's what she said. So, to me, that's a red flag of every project we've ever done, we have no way of keeping up with it. That's a huge issue.
Well, no, this one was a pretty unusual, you know,
I don't think that's
Most of the
fair.
time.
I don't think that's a fair statement of how this city's run financially. I think this.
I agree with you, but it was said. I'm not saying, all I'm saying is, there's been multiple projects that we've gone over with nobody accepting responsibility, saying, who's in charge of keeping up with the budget, and then saying, hey guys, we're getting close to that level, we need to go ask more money. I don't think there's anybody up here that's going to say, hey, yeah, we had all these problems. The council's going to, I think, going to give more money if you get those problems. I don't think anybody's going to, but it's not the council's money, it's not your money, it's the citizens' money, and we're all responsible for it, and we can't just do it. We have an obligation to take care of what we say we're going to do. And if we say we have a limit, and we hit that limit, then we come back, that's all we're trying to say. That's all we're trying to say. I'm not saying anybody did anything wrong, I'm not saying you did anything wrong, I'm not saying you're doing it. If we say we got the limit, and we get close to that limit, we gotta come back.
Maybe we just need more project updates on stuff like this or something.
We gotta figure out a way to not go over budget. I mean, we've gone over, think what we could have done with this money.
Would it be possible to look at something where maybe if we have a project, an ongoing project, a large project, that maybe we get a budget update as part of like your budget summary for the month? Would that be too much work on you, or would that be something that would be?
No, I hesitate to point this out because I'm with you guys. I'm not saying that this was any one, but this category went over budget and is in my report to you guys every month for the last several months. So typically, I go through and I bring those if the department heads haven't brought them. I didn't bring this when I said we should bring it, but we were all, general consensus that kept coming back to me is let's get it finished so that we can only bring it once and do it as one big project. The controls are in place. The report came every month and clearly showed that we were over on that category. That control is there.
So when you say category, was it a line item?
No, the category, it went over by category. The line item, yes, it was the line item that drove it over for the category, but the category was over, has been over. So,
The entire category was red. Right.
so and I'm not saying, like I said, I'm not saying.
So whose job is it to know if that category is over? And when the council says, hey, we have a budget of $250,000, whose job is it to put those two together and say, we need to go back and ask?
Ultimately, the mayor. Yeah, and I told you exactly what I did. I appreciate the comments. I hear you. Anything comes close to going over, you're gonna know about it.
Okay.
Thanks for accepting the responsibility, Mayor.
Yeah. It's my job.
We've not had that in a little while.
I'd love to live in a world where these 5 families are happy with the results after what they've been through.
I think we all 100% agree with that. I drove through there Sunday and it looks fabulous.
Good.
It does. I mean,
And we
too bad I don't still live there because I haven't been fixing a new driveway.
when we were asked about the fences, we said you have to make these people whole. And we were asked, are we over budget? We were told no, we weren't over budget. We were on budget. We had the money at that point in time.
And the second pool contractor needed to be let go to hire a third to get it done.
Looked like he had a blank, like he could, an endless pot of money.
I didn't hire him, but I did let him go.
Well, that was good.
Okay,
I think we have
we have a motion. We still at this motion
Yes, sir.
to table the West Point, send all of the others. We have a motion and a second.
Yes, sir.
All right, do you want to vote?
Sure.
Let's do it. All in favor? Any opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
All right,
Thank you,
item number 10.
Thanks, Joy.
Thank you, Beth.
So item number 10 is a recent development where you have planned for along Hurricane Lake Road. This particular development is to put duplexes on there. We did receive dedicated right-of-way for Hurricane Lake Road as part of this. It's not really a walkable environment there, so the developer is asking for the waiver of sidewalks in this particular area, and that recommendation was made by the Planning Commission mid-October. Proceed based off y'all's acceptance of the waiver of sidewalks.
So the planning commission's okay with it?
Yes, they agreed that this would be okay, because there was no other sidewalks within that area.
Motion to approve? Second.
A motion is second. Johnny, you have a question?
Well, I was just going to see if Ted would speak to some of the concessions that the applicant had made already about changing the layout and...
So it was a pretty good development, because initially the residents there did not like what was going in, and they heeded what the residents were saying. They actually turned the development around to where there was limited access to Hurricane Lake Road, which overall will improve traffic there as well. So it's been a really good successful project as far as developer working with the residents.
Yes, sir. All right, I got a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Another sidewalk waiver.
Yeah, this particular one is on Shoal Road, which is actually a private road. And then the reason this is triggered is they've split in the lots, so technically it has to fall within the subdivision code, which requires sidewalks. But once again, there are no sidewalks currently there. Shoal Road is very narrow and a private road.
Shoal Road's over by Miller Place, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, got it.
And this property backs up to Miller Place.
Yep, I sure remember my road traffic.
Dead end road, correct?
It dead ends, yeah, it does not punch through.
Yeah.
So I was trying to remember.
Motion to approve.
All right, got a motion to approve.
Second.
Second. All in favor? Motion passes.
Thank you.
All right, agenda number 12, this is the property for a future fire station. It's part of Amendment 78.
Good evening, Council. We're asking for approval for the resolution for the purchase of the property that I discussed with you last month.
Motion to
Anybody have
approve.
any questions about it?
Second to approve.
Motion approved.
Second. Calm down, chief.
All in favor?
Sound fire.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you very much.
I wish everything was as easy as fire.
It's pretty easy to.
Yeah.
All right, HR.
Hi. My first one is a resolution to amend Resolution 2023-30 so that we can hire for the Parks Grounds foreman.
This is the, Dale was
Yes,
promoted.
this is all about a promotion. He was promoted out of that position into the Assistant Parks Director, so it's now vacant, so we're bringing it to you to unfreeze it.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Motion passes.
The second one is to reclassify a water utility worker 1 to a utility worker 2. This is budget neutral. It doesn't have budget impact on us. And it does allow for the water team to have more internal growth and more room to grow their skill set. We don't have any utility worker 2, so we need to
Motion to approve.
grow that.
Second. Is that okay, Charlotte?
Motion.
Absolutely, thank you.
Second. All in favor? Any opposed? Thank you, Charlotte.
Thank you.
Now we got the Brown High School swim use agreement.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Second. All in favor? Any opposed?
Was that fun?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's the easy one.
Very good. All right, Public Works.
But you got to get up for a second.
Tim, sorry.
Not so fast, my friend.
He's got a lot.
These first two, if you remember back in 2022, we allocated $2 million of ARPA funds towards the meter project, and then that got funded, so we'd like to reallocate the $2 million. And this first one is $900,000 in ARPA funds towards the South Plain pressure plane project, which, for those asked, the water sewer advisory meeting tonight, they did recommend Chris be the engineer on that based on our review that we did. So that's the first one. All of these have, or the first three have emergency clauses also.
Does the resolution need to include the engineer in it or not?
We can add that. It just happened tonight, so we can amend the resolution to add who was picked.
I make a motion to do just what Ashley said.
And I want to commend the water committee. They
They did a good job.
very thorough in this.
So I'll second the motion.
All right, we got a motion and a second.
Who made the motion?
Me. Ashley stated it well.
Resolution 2024-46, a resolution expressing willingness of the city of Bryant to utilize American Rescue Plan Act funds for the South Pressure Plain Water Project with an amendment to add Christ Engineering as the engineer selected for the project. All in favor? Any opposed?
Is the emergency car within the resolution? Sweet.
We don't have a separate one.
And you don't need to vote on that. With a resolution, it automatically comes into effect.
Yes, ma'am, council.
Thank you. All right, number 17.
Same thing, this is the remainder of that $2 million that we allocated to the water meter project, which is fully funded, and it's $1.1 million of ARPA funds toward Lift Station 5 and Forest Main project. Hawkins and Weir is engineer selected off the master service agreement. The project will be more than $1.1 million, but this will get us engineering and partnering to construction.
Motion to adopt, or whatever we do.
Motion to approve. I got a second.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Motion passes. Number 18.
This is a resolution of intent for us to adopt that resolution declaring our official intent to secure funds through the state revolving for the Station 5 enforcement. We've brought lots of these to you when we go out for the state revolving funds.
Motion approved.
Second. Motion, got a second. Jordan. All in favor? Any opposed?
Mayor, you're losing them, you better hurry up.
All right. Trading, number 19.
This is a resolution to put some equipment from the street department on gov deals. I do want to point out the 2018 Caterpillar 314F is not fully depreciated. The intention was to trade it in next year. We were offered $100,000, so it's actually depreciated $175. So what we'd like to do is put it on a gov deal, see if we can get the $175. If not, we will not sell it. We'll come back to you with options for the 2025 budget.
Motion approved. Second.
All in favor? Any opposed?
I had a question. This goes to Keith, so maybe we'll get to speak. This reminded me, we approved to sell some stuff that Parks had. What was it? Oh, I'm just curious.
Yeah, we'll work it through. I think we sold 5 or 6.
Okay, I was curious when that reminded me that.
Good question. All right, council comments.
Thank you to Jordan for this organized agenda. I know this was not done by the mayor. That's my assumption. And Joey's always super helpful whenever we have questions for her, so we appreciate that.
Appreciate your part on the Jordan strike. Yeah, Jordan. Council comments.
I'd like to commend everybody for having the willingness to speak in a professional manner over issues and carrying that out right. And it's refreshing to see this council that can actually do that. It's not always been that way. So I just want to commend everybody for your willingness to be honest and hopefully let everybody grow from the comments.
Yes, sir. Thanks, Rob. All right, yeah, thanks, everybody. I appreciate your time. It was a long meeting. Thanks for hanging in there, staying engaged. Much appreciated. Motion.
Second.
I'll make the motion.
Agreed. All right, all in favor, we're out.